The story begins in a world composed of two vast continents, the Arctic continent, along with an archipelago called the Antarctic Islands. Because they are so far apart, they are unaware of each other's existence. 100 years ago, a technological revolution broke out in the Antarctic Islands, initiating the Great Age of Exploration. The proud ring-shaped mountain of the Nation of Light on the central continent was blasted upon by a superweapon. From then on, this planet entered a new era. Our main protagonist is Li Xianyu, just an ordinary college student from the Nation of Light. Tomorrow is his 20th birthday. He was currently at his school, and when he was about to exit his classroom, his classmate called him and reminded him about their online gaming session tomorrow. He then showed his phone and reasoned out that his father had called him home, who might throw a party for him since tomorrow is his birthday. It turned out that the message he received came from a lady who invited him to hang out tomorrow. 20th birthday might be a big one. See you next week, his classmates said while he was leaving in a rush. In this world, Xianyu, with his parents and his sister, lives in a regular neighborhood in city number 8. When he arrived, a bald old man greeted him. Xianyu called this guy as Grandpa Qin. He joked around about the rumor he heard regarding this old man and someone called Granny Wang in their neighborhood. The old man laughed, saying they were just friends. Xianyu's father has been working for 20 years and has barely made it to the Medicare department head. They were just barely middle class. His sister has been traveling ever since she graduated, barely ever home. As he reached their home, he noticed that his sister Bingzazi's shoes weren't outside, so he felt sad that his sister didn't bother to come home for his birthday. He lay down on the couch and asked his father where his sister was traveling these days. At the same time, there was news about the continued red alert for smog. His father was making food, explaining that he doesn't want his daughter to suffer while traveling, which is why he sent her some money. The news continues playing, stating that the Bauza Group announces the development of a large-scale air filtration system. While Xianyu's father put down the food on the table, he asked him if he had anything planned for tomorrow. Of course not. What kind of arrangement is this mysterious? I've cleared the whole day, he replied. His father then said he would find it out tomorrow. Xianyu was nervous, asking his father why he was so secretive if it was just his 20th birthday. The next day, it was already Xianyu's birthday. He was sitting on the couch while watching the same news yesterday. Beside him was his father. He noticed that his father kept checking the time today, so he asked him if they had any plans for the day. However, his father replied that it was nothing. His father was startled when someone knocked on the door. He got excited as he was expecting that the one who came was his sister. A guy in a suit came with an envelope, seemed to be a lawyer. Xianyu's father invited him to enter and have a talk in the study room. As they headed inside, Xianyu's father also invited him. The three of them sat down, and only Xianyu was clueless. His father seemed to be nervous. He clasped his hands and said, "Xianyu, actually, I'm not your real father." Of course, Xianyu was shocked. "Your father and I were close brothers. He passed away when you were still an infant," his adoptive father said. He added that Xianyu's father entrusted him with something to give Xianyu once he reached adulthood. He handed Xianyu the wild envelope and told him to take his time processing what's inside and have a look at what his birth father left behind. They then headed outside, leaving Xianyu in disbelief, thinking that he seemed to be a protagonist of a shounen manga. He was sad that everything was a lie, including Bingzhai as his sister. He was nervous but ended up deciding to open the envelope. It was a property deed, a house, 1 million, and a black bead. He's very curious about the black bead. He concludes that it could be some kind of treasure, and he believes there should be a letter about it inside. As he read the letter, it was stated that his mother was a gentle and graceful woman. When his parents' eyes met, they knew they had found the right one. They quickly fell in love, and then came he. When his parents found out his mother was pregnant, his father cried with joy for 3 days and nights. His father thought he'd never have a child. Sadly, while they are father and son by fate, they cannot be together in this life. When writing this letter, his father didn't have much time left. None of that matters. The bead is their Li family's heirloom. Xianyu must eat it and get a snail fairy. At the bottom of the letter was his father's name, Li Wuxiang. Xianyu was observing the bead, but he didn't see any signs that it was edible. He licked it to know its taste. Then he ends up swallowing it. However, it stuck on his throat. He regrets eating it on instinct. He pushed it downward and felt it land on his stomach. But then, he felt so much pain. He noticed his stomach was bloated. He felt nervous. He kneeled on the ground, and his stomach continuously got bigger. He even thought he was about to give birth. He said in his mind that his father left him an inheritance just so he could birth his grandchild himself. The pain was too much. He had already screamed. A blinding light appeared, including a human with beautiful hair. The lady stretched her arms and said, "Slept for 20 years, finally awake." She also asked Xianyu if he's the son of Li Wuxiang. Xianyu didn't respond due to the fact that he's still confused. He was wondering if his father had passed his harem down to him. The lady was naked. She told Xianyu to call her grand matriarch. Outside Xianyu's home, the lawyer was calling someone over the phone, informing that he had successfully delivered the item to Li Xianyu without hiccups. At this moment, someone overheard him, who was the old guy in the neighborhood. Meanwhile, Xianyu went to the house his father gave him. He was so impressed because of how beautiful it was. His adoptive father was with him. Right now, he doesn't know if it is because he found out Bingzazi isn't his real sister, but he doesn't feel like it is hard to accept that his current parents aren't his blood relatives. An hour had passed, his grand matriarch came out from the bath, and she was satisfied. She felt refreshed now. Xianyu was startled upon seeing her still naked. He told her to wear some clothes, but she didn't want to wear his old clothes. Xianyu was annoyed, promised her he would buy her new ones next time. This lady looks younger than him, but turned out to be his grand matriarch. Finally, she agreed to wear Xianyu's cloth. They were sitting on the couch. Xianyu told the lady he looked younger than her. She then replied that it is because she died at the age of 18. Xianyu splurted out the water he was drinking out of shock. The lady then said, "Considering you're different from past successors and didn't receive training from childhood, it's natural to be shocked when suddenly confronted with the truth." Xianyu was drooling while staring at her. But he paused when the lady told him that the world he had seen was just the tip of the iceberg, and that he was not an ordinary person, but someone who inherited an exceptional bloodline. That is the ancient demon bloodline. According to the lady, she is known as the peerless battle soul, a powerful warrior soul. When Xianyu's heart truly resonates with her, she believes the power of his bloodline will awaken. As expected, Xianyu was confused. He doesn't understand all the words the lady uttered, causing him to ask a lot of questions. The lady got annoyed and told him they should start with a bottle of ugly dolls. But as per Xianyu, it didn't exist. She asked more questions, more it only makes Xianyu more confused. "Li Wuxiang, you bastard, short-lived ghost. You made me sleep for 20 years, the world 20 years later is so boring, I can't take it," the lady said with annoyance. Xianyu then offered will buy a snack just to calm her down. Meanwhile, he came back and saw the lady on the terrace. She seemed to be sad, stating that it had been almost 150 years, but every time she fell asleep and woke up, the world kept changing non-stop. However, she stays the same, and time has lost its rules over him. Xianyu calls him, and she angrily said that if the snacks taste bad, he would beat the crap out of him. Xianyu immediately put the snacks on the table, and a few minutes after the lady tasted lots of it, she appreciated it, saying she loves this era because of the delicious food. While eating, she asked Xianyu if he knew about the existence of ancient demons. Before humans were ever born into this world, it was ancient demons who ruled this land. They were nature's chosen, born with unparalleled power. Though ancient demons were strong, they still couldn't defeat time and were lost to the vast river of history. Though the ancient demons are extinct, the seeds of their genes are not. In both animals and plants, remnants of their genes still exist. And among humans, those who awaken the powers of ancient demons are called bloodline carriers. Meanwhile, they were at a Chinese ramen shop. The lady was so happy and satisfied with her meal. While eating, people were out of words watching her eat so much. Also, Xianyu told her that he has been living on instant noodles for half a month. The lady feels pity for him and tells him he's like his father, who is a poor ghost. Xianyu looked behind him as he heard a dog barking. Then he saw a yellow puppy who was drooling while watching them eat. The lady then threw a chicken to the puppy, but then the shopkeeper suddenly kicked the puppy in annoyance. The grand matriarch of Xianyu suddenly became silent. Xianyu asked her what was wrong, and the lady then asked him if he didn't see that there was a ghost behind the shopkeeper. Xianyu checked it himself, but he saw nothing. He accused the lady of lying, and the lady then asked him if he wanted to see it himself. Before she allowed him, she warned him it would cost him a bit of his energy. He then confidently said it is fine since he's more curious about what a ghost looks like. Also, he He wanted to confirm if ghosts are more beautiful than his grand matriarch. The lady then reminded him she's not a ghost but a battle soul. She also started the enchantment and blew. Xianyu was expecting something to happen, but there was nothing. Then, after a few more seconds, he felt something pulling his head. He cannot understand what he felt. He felt so much pain. The lady just slightly smiled after casting the magic he used on Xianyu. Xianyu was shaking in agony, asking the lady what was going on. The lady was disappointed upon knowing he was weak. She poked Xianyu's forehead and instructed him to look back at the shopkeeper. He almost cried in fear upon confirming that there really is a ghost behind the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper was unaware that a ghost was behind her. She called her husband, asking him to lower the temperature of the aircon as she felt so cold. The ghost then said, "It's scorching hot, and you're still cold while cooking? Are you that weak?" While staring at them, Xianyu was asking what was behind the shopkeeper. The ghost suddenly smiled at him. He was terrified, and his matriarch then told him not to make eye contact with the ghost or she would latch onto him. Xianyu was so scared, asking if he would now die. The lady then told him not to worry, as he would only feel a few days of severe illness. Xianyu immediately stood and told his matriarch they should go home instead. He screamed the moment he felt pain in his kidney. The lady then told him she had already warned him it would drain a bit of his energy. Xianyu fell on the ground, and he's asking the lady if she really had misunderstood what energy means. According to the lady, kidney failure leads to a deficiency in vital energy and blood. The kidneys are where essence is stored. A man's health is closely tied to his kidneys. She asked Xianyu if he felt other discomfort besides his back pain. Xianyu then replied not really, and the lady then said it is exactly as she said. She's a battle soul, and the power of a battle soul comes from the host. She added that the stronger the host, the stronger the battle strength she can wield. She walked away while Xianyu was asking her for help. With your current ability, I can't even unleash 1/10,000th of his power, she said. Xianyu was out of words. He was just hoping this scene wouldn't happen again in the future. This young man, who looks extremely drained of vitality, is none other than Li Xianyu. Having paid the price with his vitality, his great-grandmother brought him into a new world he'd never imagined. Remember this, I've temporarily sealed your spirit eyes. You must not make eye contact with vengeful spirits, the lady proclaimed. She also informed Xianyu that the ability she used was her Li family's secret technique, the spirit pupil technique. She borrowed Xianyu's energy to open her eye apertures. Xianyu nodded as a sign he understood. Although this new world looks extremely dangerous, he was glad that his great-grandma, who slept for 20 years, is both cute and reliable. As they were walking on the road, the lady suddenly screamed Xianyu's name. She was surprised to see lots of cars on the road. Xianyu then told her that cars had already existed 20 years ago. It's just that it wasn't so much like the present time. The grand matriarch was also surprised that the girls so out on the streets dressed so revealingly. Buildings were also tall, very different from before. She was roaming around without hearing Xianyu asking her to slow down. She saw another delicious food, and Xianyu didn't have a choice but to give what she wanted. She bought some ice cream and was thrilled to eat it. Xianyu was just watching her, noticing she had a good appetite. Great-grandma, what kind of person was my dad? He suddenly asked. Wuxiang, huh? Just that kind of person, his grandma replied. Xianyu then questioned what kind she meant to say. As per the lady, Wuxiang was the most outstanding among her great-grandsons, but his fate was poor, and his luck was bad. He died young, his Tao extinguished. And if he is still alive, she believes that maybe she would have already broken free from all her shackles by now. Upon hearing it, Xianyu then concludes that his real father was pretty amazing. Your dad was a rare talent. Give him another 20 years, and perhaps I could have borrowed his strength to break free from all my shackles. The lady added. Xianyu then wondered if there was a connection with breaking free from shackles and draining his essence, blood, and stamina. He widely smiled and asked the lady what a shackle was. However, the lady told her he doesn't need to know it right now. She informed Xianyu that she would go back home, and Xianyu said he would come with her. However, the lady wants him to buy all the snacks she wants first before coming back. Xianyu was shocked that his grandma was still not full. Still, he followed what he wanted and went back home with bags of snacks. While heading, he's complaining about his back pain. He was glad when he arrived, but he saw his grandma talking with old Qin. He concludes that this old man was hitting his grandma. The old man was blushing while showing the lady his game that had just come out. With a curious reaction, the lady asked him if the game was really fun. The old man then replied, "How about it? How about coming over to my place next to play something fun?" Xianyu immediately interfered and claimed the lady as his girlfriend. The old man was startled at first, but then he smiled and asked him when he got a girlfriend. "None of your business. Whatever you do, don't touch this person." They then walked away, leaving the old man chuckling. Xianyu then whispered to the lady, informing her that old Qin is a pervert old man who has several flings in the neighborhood complex. However, the lady doesn't see old Qin, as Xianyu said. Xianyu got annoyed at her, telling her that the human heart is treacherous, which she doesn't understand. The lady got mad, stating that she has lived for over 100 years, so Xianyu shouldn't think he can teach him about the ways of the world. Meanwhile, inside their house, Xianyu suddenly asked his grandma how he could awaken like his father. The lady was shocked by his question all of a sudden. She was sitting on the couch, proclaiming that it was now the time to teach Xianyu the method of qi cultivation. Xianyu got excited and asked the lady if he could develop superpowers. The lady suddenly threw a snack on Xianyu's forehead while recalling the game that old Qin mentioned. Xianyu then handed her his old phone and told her she could play with it for now. According to the lady, ancient bloodline science from primordial times discovered that when the physical body reaches a certain level, a sense of qi will be generated within the body. It's a type of energy produced in the cells, cultivated through a special method. It can nourish the physical body, with qi and essence being mutually beneficial. When the sense of qi becomes strong enough, it can also give rise to various abilities, different from the special abilities inherited from one's bloodline. It's a system outside of bloodline power. Xianyu then asked if ordinary people can also practice it. As per the lady, they can, but it is very difficult for ordinary people to develop a sense of qi because their cells aren't strong enough. She added that for ancient demon bloodline science to awaken their bloodline power, qi cultivation is the best method. She closed the sliding door and declared she would open Xianyu's acupoints. They positioned themselves, and before doing the process, the lady informed Xianyu that after his cells are activated, he should be able to obtain the power dormant in his bloodline. She then pointed her fingers at the back of Xianyu's neck. Right now, the core of qi cultivation of Xianyu is breathing in spiritual energy, letting the internal organs resonate. During the time of opening Xianyu's acupoint, the lady was just waiting for him to completely finish it. However, he opened his eyes widely after a few hours and told the lady that he thinks he might be suffering from cultivation deviation. His grandma panicked and told him to hang in. Xianyu was sweating, and he felt something unusual. The lady asked him if he was fine. Xianyu suddenly vomits blood. The lady immediately brought him to the ER. When he woke up, he told the lady that he thought he was going to die. The lady then explained that it is impossible since she was sure that the qi cultivation method is correct, including the rhythm is correct. Also, she and Xianyu's father were the ones who opened the other celestial gates back then. The doctor suddenly entered, asking Xianyu how he felt right now. Xianyu rose as he was shocked and confused upon seeing old Qin. Old Qin then proudly said he was the one who called an ambulance. It turned out Xianyu's grandma rushed to him with a pale face. The lady then told Xianyu once again that old Qin is really not a bad person. Old Qin was beside the doctor, so he asked him about Xianyu's status. As per the doctor, Xianyu had a smog poisoning. Old Qin and Xianyu were shocked upon hearing it, and the lady was confused. Xianyu got scared for his health, so he told the doctor to let him have a blood test and an ultrasound. He's afraid something is seriously wrong with his body, like his meridians are all severed or his dantian is shattered. Sore throat, dry cough. Increased nasal discharge, dry eyes, accompanied by a high fever. Aside from that, no other pain or abnormalities in the body. This is indeed smog poisoning, but it's not severe poisoning. I was going to ask you, even though there was a red alert for smog today, the doctor proclaimed. Knowing that the air is filled with a large amount of smog due to the development of modern industry, Xianyu asked if he had absorbed the smog too. Can people still practice qi cultivation in modern times? This is so hard for me. Awakening in modern times is so hard. How can one practice qi cultivation without a high-end air purifier? He proclaimed. The lady then answered that only qi cultivation makes it easier for the spirit orb to resonate with Xianyu awakening his bloodline, although practicing qi cultivation is much more difficult now. And if he wants to nourish his kidneys, he must work hard on qi cultivation. Xianyu got excited upon knowing that practicing qi cultivation would stop his kidneys from hurting. He now understood that if there's a supply of spiritual energy, his grandma won't have to drain his energy anymore. The lady poked his forehead and told him that qi cultivation just helps his energy recover a bit faster. She explains that the energy she needs far exceeds what all can produce. So, every one of her great-grandsons inevitably suffers from vitality drain and mental exhaustion. Xianyu was terrified upon realizing that he experienced hereditary vitality drain. He was wondering what he should do, knowing that he was just a kid. He's a tragic youth who inherited his beautiful great-grandma's looks and a hereditary vitality drain. A week passed, and he still wasn't able to go to school due to severe smog poisoning. Smog poisoning is actually not the main reason why he's weak. That is because of his vitality drain. Right now, only XX kidney treasure capsules can slightly alleviate his vitality drain. He feels like his youth has already ended this autumn. Xianyu suddenly received a call from his classmate Yang Guangtai. Guangtai was annoyed at him, asking him why he wasn't at school. Xianyu then replied that he's not feeling well, but was hoping he would be back at school by tomorrow. Guangtai was glad as he didn't like playing alone. The next day, Xianyu really attended the class. When he arrived, Guangtai immediately told him that something bad had happened at their school yesterday. Xianyu was shocked upon knowing that their classmate Zhang Mingyu had died, a playboy, a rich, handsome guy from their university, as per Guangtai. Xianyu then asked how it happened, and according to Guangtai, at 7 a.m. yesterday, Zhang Mingyu's body was found in the flower bed behind the library, stark naked, without a single trace of blood on him. What's even weirder is that his expression was very peaceful, as if he had just fallen asleep. Guangtai added that the coroner's result was sudden death. The culprit is still unknown. The police asked Zhang Mingyu's girlfriend, but it wasn't her. Guangtai heard many girls at school had a relationship with Mingyu that went beyond just classmates. Xianyu cannot believe everything, especially that Mingyu is a healthy guy. He suddenly remembered that his grandma said that after a person dies, their spirit body will remain for 7 days. He just opened his spirit eyes, and he wondered if he could see Zhang Mingyu's soul. He smiled upon thinking of this idea, making Guangtai confused. Late afternoon, they went to the area where the crime had happened. However, Xianyu's spirit eyes aren't working. He focused once again and searched for Mingyu. He tried, and watching him blinking makes Guangtai believe he's like a maniac. Xianyu also recalled that his grandma warned him not to speak casually of ghosts and gods, as they would surely respond if he kept doing it. "Let's go. Nothing more to see here. Let's go back and play games," Guangtai said. But Xianyu told him to place first, as he needed to use the restroom. When he went inside the cubicle, he called his grandma and informed her that he couldn't see the spirit body of his schoolmate who had just died. The lady then directly asked if the person he was referring to really had just died. Xianyu then replied that the person he meant had just died yesterday. The lady then uttered, "To die under a peony flower even as a ghost is romantic." She then proclaimed that a kind of person like Mingyu won't be too fierce even if they die, and they're probably lingering around the girls' dorms at school, unable to leave. If Xianyu can't see the spirit body, he can't really see it, so she wants Xianyu to mess around in places where people have died. Also, she knows that besides Xianyu's spirit eyes, he has no means to deal with spirit bodies. If he runs into a fierce ghost or an evil spirit, she's afraid he won't even know how he died. Xianyu then said he understood, and before dropping the call, the lady asked for 10 bottles of yogurt. Xianyu sighed, complaining how his grandma asked for 10 bottles of yogurt despite not answering his question clearly. All of a sudden, he felt so cold. He was wondering why. He started shivering and heard a rumbling noise at the toilet. He looked at it himself and thought that it was broken. His eyes cried, and he was scared as he finally saw the soul of Mingyu exactly at the toilet. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment for another part, and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Till next time.